Hello, everyone. This is JD Calderon, and this is Indy Comics Explained. And yet again, I brought on another fantastic guest. But before we get to him, please hit like, hit subscribe, share out the video, and go check out the Oswald Chronicles, currently on Kickstarter. And it's for these two books right here, but with new covers, with new colored covers. So these look nice, but they look even nicer now. So go check that out. You can also check out the long shots. The links are in the show notes. And without further ado, let's bring on our fantastic guest, Mr. Rob Multari. How are you, sir?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good, brother. I'm good. It's been a while.
It has been. It's been. Yeah. I mean, I think we tried during the last with my Snowpaw campaign, but we had some kind of cancellations.
It happens. It happens. It's not that big a deal. So I mean, we went through all the basic questions the first time I interviewed you. I'm not going to ask you about writing and all that stuff. We've been through all that stuff already, right? So we're just going to jump into this campaign and maybe, here's my first question. You've done 7 campaigns, right? Mm-hmm. To date. In doing those 7 campaigns, obviously you've grown and you've learned and you've taken a lot. There are a lot of takeaways from those. What's the biggest thing you've learned by doing these campaigns?
I would definitely say to not rest. Take breaks, but don't take a lot of breaks. As far as like promoting, because you can, if your slow days, it's probably because you didn't either do something, like even like one email or like something or a post or whatever. That you got to keep going at it. This is your party. You're inviting the guests. You got to keep bringing them on. You can't just sit on your laurels and expect them to come to you, right? So that's especially with social media. Somebody might see something one time and just let it go by, but if there's that repetition, eventually be like, oh yeah, you know what? I did mean to check that. And like the 10th time they see it or more, or maybe the 100th time, they might be like, oh, I'll finally go back it or something or check it out. Don't hold up on that throttle, man. Just keep on going with it. And I think that's another thing that I've learned along the way is to shorten my campaigns. So I don't do a 30-day. I do a 20 to a 22, depending on like how the dates fall. Usually I try to go from like Wednesday to Wednesday because I like to use the hashtag Werewolf Wednesday. So I try to make it like a real short and sweet to try and kill that dead zone. Because it's a marathon, you get tired, you get exhausted. There's days where you're just like, oh man. But, in the end, like, once you're done, you can sit back and relax for a couple of days and just, enjoy the victory, right?
Oh yeah. Listen, I know all about it. I'm like, because now I know where I'm screwing up. I keep like, oh, I'm going to like not do as much today, or if anything.
You and Daphne are like marathon runners, like, because you guys are constantly like, you have way more campaigns going on than I do. I mean, it just amazes me. Like every month you guys, I feel like you're on.
Yeah. It's an addiction. Says Andrew says, I love Nightwolf and Snowpaw. I pleasure both. Rob, you and your crew rule. There you go. Nice. Thank you. But yeah, no, I mean that's awesome. But yeah, Daphne and I, we're a little insane. So
but you guys, you put the work in, you do it. If you need a break, I can understand. I can understand why.
Well, it's funny. I think I'm addicted to crowdfunding, to campaigning. Like if I'm not, like I write every day, regardless. Okay, right. But if I'm not crowdfunding, I don't feel like I'm doing anything.
It's serious work. It is. Not obviously, but I mean, it is. But I mean, like it is. It's like it's a whole nother like mindset and hard work and effort that you put into these, and you having to plan out things, and then
Tilly's looking for its next book, Rob. Nice.
Yeah, but I mean, it is. It's like it is a marathon. It's a constant. It's a different mind frame too. You're thinking of just because you're putting yourself out there. Because for me, like I don't typically do a lot of like video. And you and I have talked about this before. I don't typically do a lot of lives when I'm not campaigning, right? Because one, it's just I have so much energy that I can put into it, and two, like I have so much, like with the wife and kids and my full time job and all other stuff. Like I store up my marathon sprinting for like these campaigns.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, I know you do a lot of shows during the campaigns because I've seen like there are days you do what 3 shows in a day.
Yeah, there's been like especially during the Snowpaw launch. That one,
Right.
I'm pretty sure like me and Mog and I both were like we did them together, we did them separate, we did them, we hit it there, we did them everywhere.
Right. I was like, whoa, that's crazy. I mean, but it's cool though. It's nice to get. I mean, for myself, I like to meet people, so I like to talk to people, especially comic heads. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
It's like those people with those same interests. I have a day job. I'm a manager at a big box store, so I meet people all day long.
Right.
But those are not the people I want to talk to.
Yeah, I get it. I work for like an online retailer, and I do web and online website stuff. Basically, so I don't really talk to anybody on a daily basis. It's usually like through Trello or or like the occasional email. Then we'll have a meeting once a week, right? That's like my fill of like when I see my teammates at work.
Right, exactly. I don't want to see you guys really. You're nice, but you're not that nice.
Yeah, I'm like I got my headphones in and I'm working in my cubicle.
Exactly. So now, so you're saying okay, so keep the foot on the throttle, keep that sucker moving forward during the campaign. Now, how about in between campaigns?
So in between, depending on like what you use for like your fulfillment. For me, I use BackerKit. So in itself, it's kind of like a mini campaign. So like, once you have that set up, you got your add-ons and all that stuff, it kind of becomes like, and then like that you have that pre-order store available to you through BackerKit. So it's kind of like it's you light up on that throttle just a little bit and kind of keep that, posting going. But again, you can sit back and relax a little bit more. For me, I don't like to sit idle at all. I've done that. It was like it was my first campaign back from, my first failed one. So when I came back and I had that successful one, and I was like, that was still feeling through like what I was doing. But there was still like a time period, like while I was waiting for the funds to come in or for like the tchotchkes and all that stuff to come in, the books to come in. And this was like before, like I kind of had a schedule of like trying to get the book out faster. It was there. I sat there and I felt like I had put all that time and effort in. And then like, now I'm like, oh, I checked my phone, the Kickstarter's not doing anything anymore. Like, I don't know what to do with myself,
Right.
So, I kind of learned that like to keep myself busy and start pushing towards the next one. And now that I have 2 IPs that I'm working towards, I can rotate and I do Nightwolf and then do Snowpaw and vice versa. And, I keep that snowball rolling. Prior to that, so like, that was issue 1 through 3 was that kind of like stagnant feeling my way through kind of a situation. And I also was kind of like switching between artists at the time. I had invited Carlos to come back to issue 4 because he was available again. And so there was that like a little bit of a lull there. And once Carlos came back in and issue 4 was funded and we kept going, it just was like from there, it was like, okay, cool. Now let's work on 5. Or I think we also had like the volume 1 extra pages that we had put in. So like it was like from there, things just started moving faster. So for me, I like having that something else to think about and look forward to rather than just sitting and waiting, because the sitting and waiting drives you crazy, or at least did me anyway. You know what I mean? Like, so I was, I mean, I guess I could have wrote something or did something else. But I'm the type of person that like, because of my attention deficit, I like to have multiple things burning at the same time. So that when my attention goes to one, I can focus, you know what I mean? So I'm like, I work in circles. And, so I'm like, oh, I worked on this. Now I'm like, oh, what's this? Oh, now I'm going to work on this. Now, so I keep those like everything in kind of like an orbit, if you will. And I move around the circle so that I don't get bored, 1, and 2, that like, if my focus shifts, then I, you know what I mean? Like,
no, yeah. I God, it's funny. It's not Randy Zimmerman, but it's another Zimmerman. I'm forgetting his first name. But he was famous. He was the editor in chief of Starlog,
okay.
and he interviewed Isaac Asimov, and he went up to his house or to his apartment, and in a circle he had 7 typewriters in a circle. All of them with various novels and various stages of completion.
Yeah.
And what he would do is he would get bored with one and just turn around and work on another one.
I mean,
just like
yeah,
you're in good company.
Yeah. This is not so much working on stories, but like, yeah, the story, I have the business side of things. I have the creative management, the lettering, the website, you know what I mean? It's like, it's still the same idea, just, just the different aspects of our, doing everything.
Yeah. But like I said, it's one of those things you just got to keep busy, like you said. Yeah. Now, the one thing I noticed about your campaign, you work with a lot of different cover artists, right? Now, what is your process for that? Like, where are you hunting these guys down? Where are they approaching you? Are you, where are you finding these people?
It's a half and half. So a lot of the cover artists, I'd say probably like a good maybe third of the cover artists that I've worked with, I've met at cons and said, "Hey, would you be interested?" Just flat out ask. Like Connor Hughes and Joseph Schmolke and recently Chris Enott and CB Zane. They I met them all at cons, and we got to talking, chatting, whatever, and I said, "Hey, would you be interested?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, heck yeah, I'd be happy." So that's kind of like the initial, I got get them signed on, kind of, and then we'll go from there. Others are like so if I see them, let's say out in Facebook or on Kickstarter or somewhere, and I like their art, I then kind of have to also gauge, are they good at werewolves? Because like I don't want, typically a lot of my covers involve werewolves, and so that's a lot of, all right, I got to make sure that fits in there, because you don't have like a ton of artists out there who are well-rounded enough to do like people backgrounds and werewolves. You know what I mean? It's something like, it's like they focus on like the werewolf aspect, and then like their people like falter, or like they're really background oriented and like their characters aren't so good. Like for me, I want to make sure that everything's well rounded and that like all the pieces fit, not just that like there's this one that's like hurting over here that you're trying to cover.
And I look, I work with the magical mouse. I know exactly what you mean. I've gone up to guys who work at Marvel and DC, and I'd be like, "Listen, can you draw my mouse?" The panic mode. They could draw Superman and Batman all day long. Beautiful.
Awesome. Yeah, they just draw. They studied the anatomy, but they did nothing with the animals.
So can you draw my mouse? They're like, "Oh, what?
No mouse."
Exactly.
Mighty Mouse.
Right. Exactly. It's funny. I mean, it was really, really weird the way that works out. You have to find you have to find a real artist that could go in there and like do this stuff. That's really cool though. So Snowpaw, like what got you? I'm pretty sure you answered this question 1,000 times already, but like but what got you to go from your main series to want to do the spinoff though?
So for me, like Snowpaw has always been like one of my favorite characters in the Nightwolf series, and there's so much like basically like I kind of did a Rogue One situation where I made like a thing based off of a conversation. You know what I mean? So with Snowpaw, I had the conversation in the book where she's saying, that where she was born in Scotland in the 19th century, and about her, how her first time and she lost her family and this and that. So that conversation turned into basically the entire first issue. I had like point A and point B, you know what I mean? So like, I was like, all right, now let's fill that in. But that's again, that's 200 years like prior to like the events of Nightwolf. So I have all that gap to fill that I could totally come up with, great adventures for her, you know, and
Right.
obviously by the time we see her in Nightwolf, she's lived a full life and she's experienced. She's the mentor. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So for me, like I again, I love her character. I love the idea of her, you know, her strong, you know, female presence, very commanding and very, you know, just badass, right?
Mhm.
So I thought, all right, well, there's obviously something here because a lot of my Wolfpack members, who, you know, my readers, my audience,
Right.
they love her as well.
Mm.
And so I was like, okay, well, I have these other titles that I want to put out. Who would I put out after Nightwolf? So I polled my audience. I sent out an email,
Mhm.
like a Google form survey, and one of the questions that in that survey was, okay, what title would you like me to see put out next? And I had, you know, Crimson Dawn, Redemption, and Arcane, and Snowpaw.
Right.
And Snowpaw was like hands down the number one winner, you know, even though like she wasn't an official title that I have like on my website, you know what I mean? But
Mhm.
hands down, like they were like, yeah, you got to do that. So, I mean, it was like a no brainer at that point. I'm like, all right.
Nice. Now, how did you hook up with your artist, Mog?
So that happened completely by accident. I
Mm.
had known about Mog and had been following her, loved her Game of Thrones art and her superhero like sketch cover art that she had been doing, and I've
Mhm.
seen that she was doing some covers for other indies that I thought were gorgeous. Fast forward a little bit to a year ago, February.
Mhm.
Um, I was on the Henri Campan's first live signing that he had going on, and she happened to be watching, and
Cool.
she bought some of the issues from Henri, and then had to do. I think he ran out of like the full sets, so she had to get the other two from me,
Mhm.
and so that's how we got connected. And
Right.
I was like, you know, I was like, I'm just gonna ask. I'm like, hey, I have this script. Are you interested? Because but
Mhm.
that was like right when I had finished. I think January was officially when it was finished, and Katrina Rhodes, my editor, had just her and I had finished it, and now it's you know get the artist going right.
Right.
So I was like, hey, I have a full script here. If you want to read it, let me know if you're interested. And
Mhm.
it just went from there. She loves werewolves and she loves history pieces and you know the fantasy. So it was like for her, it was like a no brainer. And
Mhm.
it actually happened to be her first official sequential comic book pages that she
Nice.
had ever done. So that the Snowpaw #1 is history for her.
Mhm.
You know, it's a mile marker, milestone, if you will. So I happened to just somehow luck into that.
Right. No, that's really cool. No, that yeah. Because I saw the book, and I mean, I was just like, wow, this is really really nice. You know.
Oh yeah,
But
her and so in my colors, Bruno Costa, like those two, they never actually met or talked, but like they made a great like it was like Mog once the line art finalized. I just handed it off to Bruna, and she knew what to do. Like neither of them, I really had to do. Like Mog and I had a little bit of talk about like certain things, but most of the time, like if she made changes, it was like okay, unless it was a timing thing or a
Mhm.
specific sequence. But like she took the script, ran with it. Then I gave it to Bruna with the finished line art, and Bruna, I barely had to say make a change. It was like just a few minor detail things that like are specific to characters or something. You know what I mean? Other than that, it was like good. We're good. Let's go.
Nice. Now, all right. So that was the first issue. Are you working on the second issue currently?
Yeah. So again, the finalization just got finished. I think about a month ago. Katrina finished her edits, and I made sure that all the changes were made, and then handed it off to Mog. So now it's in her hands, and she has a couple things that she needs to tie up.
Mhm.
But next week, her, Mel, and I are meeting on Thursday to kind of go over the script and kind of get started on it.
Cool. Now, how important to you is your editor?
So for me, being dyslexic, it's really important to have somebody make me not look like an idiot.
Gotcha,
uh,
gotcha.
yeah.
Listen, even when you're not dyslexic, you still need that.
um, but to give, I have to give my wife credit too, because I give it to my wife first, because I call her my dyslexic whisperer, because she can like figure out what I'm trying to say, and if like there's words wrong, she will help me through that. um,
Right.
but then I hand that off to Katrina, and so typically like she'll go through, and if there's any kind of story suggestions or questions that she has that I need to clean up,
Mhm.
I'll make those changes. But it's actually been kind of minimal, really. But she was like, and I wanted to make sure from like it's since Snowpaw is more from like a female's perspective. I wanted a female editor to kind of be like, okay, this is good from that perspective, and you're not overly mansplaining.
Gotcha. Gotcha. She's not butch.
Yeah, exactly.
So she's not a dude, you know, in
Yeah,
women's clothing. It's just like she's a woman. She's a
exactly.
well-rounded, female character. No, that's awesome. But yeah. I mean, I think working with Daphne is just for myself. It's similar. He's like, okay, he's he's not making an idiot of himself when it comes down to that, in that milieu. So yeah,
Right.
I know exactly what you mean. Um. Oh, here's a good one for you.
Okay.
What is the step? Because right now you're just doing crowdfunding, right? What is the next step beyond Kickstarter? Like, what are you looking at? Like, what's the future? Because you have a lot of issues,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
What are you looking to do next outside of Kickstarter?
Yeah, I think leveling up wise, distribution would be like my next big level up. A lot of that's going to be, I have to, with Diamond, it's, they have their requirements, and I don't feel like I'm at the point where I can meet the requirements. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think like the crowdfunding might also have to like level up another level before because you have to print so many copies, get it
Mm-hmm.
to them, and you have to pay ahead of time to have them. There's a lot of like ins and outs with Diamond.
Yeah,
And but if there's other distribution people like a smaller route, I mean, I'm willing to negotiate or talk and find out what they're about.
mm-hmm.
um or the other option is, so like I've also been thinking about, if I were to, because I still want to be able to create and do stuff, and at this
Right.
point, like I've been doing everything minus the artwork, and
Mm-hmm.
um whether I should either bring on a partner to kind of help balance the workload, to then help push forward, or some, or make it like make my publishing a larger publisher, you know what I mean, like,
Right.
or should I then approach a larger publisher, like let's say Scout or Source Point, and say, hey,
Mm-hmm.
I need help with distribution, what do you think? Because I know there's other art, like for example with Scout, I know like Kevin Joseph, he's still with Tart, he still puts those out on crowdfunding under his
His
imprint.
label.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and then Scout will then like put them into the comic shops under Scout. So
Mm-hmm.
like maybe it's something like that, that I haven't quite exactly explored yet. And I think also because the fact that like I have 6 issues out with Nightwolf, they're probably looking for full story arcs, and this particular story arc is 12 issues. So,
Gotcha.
and maybe that may be something that when issue 12 is out, that might be something to like say, hey, if you want to mass produce these and put them out in comic shops, cool.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of time in between now and then that things could change, who knows? But that's kind of like where I think the mass distribution is kind of like the next step for me, as far as like leveling up, if you will.
Gotcha. Now, okay, that's cool. Now, you're saying it's 12 issues. Now, how long do you like? How much longer do you think before you reach that 12th issue?
So things have been picking up. I've been able to get more out a year. I think
Mm,
this year I had planned to have 4 Kickstarters.
nice.
So it'd be 2 Nightwolves and 2 Snowpaws. If I make 3, I'd be completely happy, to be honest. But that would mean 2 Nightwolves this year. So if I can keep that momentum going, and if I could pick up, like I said, if I find a partner who's able to help, but I think with Mog and I think Snowpaw ball too, if you will, because she's a lot more involved. She feels it's more of a partnership. So that's something I think that could have like that'll probably like catch up faster. But with Nightwolf, the 12 issues, hopefully within the next year or two, I would love to be able to do that. I would say at best probably 2-3 years, unless like something really exponential happens to help me out move faster. You know what I mean?
No, I got you. That's cool. Here's one for you. Now we're all into merch, right?
Mhm.
And it's funny because I've spoken to some people about it, and they're like, oh, they don't like to do merch, right? Because it just takes too much time, it's too expensive, whatever, right?
Mhm.
For myself, I do merch because I want it, right? Like I did an Oswald T-shirt because I wanted the T-shirt, and I did a pin. I wanted the damn pin.
Mhm.
So, what's that piece of merch that you're like? What's your pie in the sky piece of merch that you want for yourself?
I want action figures. I mean, not just like I have the Legos, right?
Right.
So those are cool and all, but I want like full blown like posable action figures. That's like my neck. I want that out there. Like an actual figure of Nightwolf. And I've seen it can be done. I've seen them out there. And I actually seen Kickstarters for similar like like werewolves or other things out there. But it's one finding the right partnership with the right, and making sure that it comes to fruition and making the price point reasonable.
Yeah. That's an expensive game. I can tell you that much. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean,
But I mean, that's to me because you don't see it on this side of the wall, but you can see some of the old ones back there. I have toys, I have comics in my, that's to me, that's like that's the combination, having the
right.
action your comic.
Yeah. For me, it's getting Oswald done, but like, man, I love these things. I don't know if you remember these. It was from a few years ago.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
The Infinity.
Yeah.
Figure, right.
Yeah.
So I'm dying to get an Oswald like this, man.
Nice. A little statuette.
Yeah. Because it's fun. I've never been into like movable figures. I just they never did anything for me. Even as a kid, I was like, whatever. I had them because I have Micronauts. I love my Micronauts. But but like when the Star Wars figures came out, I was like, whatever. G.I. Joe I never got into none of that stuff. It was Micronauts, and that was pretty much it.
Nice.
But,
I think I was growing up as a kid, like, man, I Transformers, He-Man, Thundercats, Ninja Turtles, the X-Men, like I had all that stuff, like, as I got older, like there was more and more of it. And I was like, yes. That just fueled my nerdiness. Cause like, then like when there was like comic books that were like related to my toys, I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, this is where it comes from.
Yep. Yeah, the few Transformers I had, my thing was like I would pose them and I would put them up on the shelf and I would leave them. I was like, oh, all right, there you go. It looks cool now.
Yeah, that's what I do with them now. There's a couple. Let me see if I can. Yeah, they're on the top shelf up there.
There you go. Nice. Yeah, that's it. He's like, there you go.
Yeah.
Good. All right, cool. Well, we spoke about taking the foot. What do you consider your best practices for putting out a campaign?
Definitely. Since I started using BackerKit Launch for pre-launch pages and well for advertising the pre-launch pages, that I think in not super spamming like my past campaigns.
Right.
I think people like said, I'm 7 campaigns deep, like you said, and if I were to send to 7 campaigns and the same people who backed all 7 would have, you know what I mean? Like that gets to be like, and really annoying. So I think what I like about launch is like, so this is after you have a few in your belt, you can't, launch isn't going to do you any good if you only are starting your first one. Right.
Right.
So what's nice about it is that it collects all of your past campaign backers and it'll send, it's basically like an email platform, like, your newsletter. Right. So, and it's just another avenue to be able to say, how's it going? that Sean?
Primetime Fry. I don't know.
So the so basically, like the best practice, I think, for using that in combination with your updates and your emails, right? So you have your email list, you have your updates, and you have backer kit launch. So what I do is I segment in my email list anybody who's ever backed a Kickstarter, they're marked as a Kickstarter backer. So I will filter them out of my newsletters so that the people who haven't backed are getting that stuff during the campaign, and the people who have backed the Kickstarters are getting the backer kit launch emails. So I'm basically sending the same emails, sort of maybe tweaked a little bit, to both, so that they're not spamming each other.
Gotcha.
Plus, so eventually so in between doing those, I will sprinkle in some updates. Like I won't do, like, for example, I haven't done an email since Friday for either launch or my newsletter, but yesterday I did an update for Nightwolf 5. So, you know what I mean? So, like, hey, just in case you didn't see this, but it's not like it's not going to Nightwolf 4 or Nightwolf 3. You know what I mean? It's not going to Snowpaw. Like, I'm going to sprinkle it through because I don't want to annoy people.
Right.
So I think that's a good practice for anybody who's doing this and who has done multiple campaigns should definitely look into.
Okay. No, I have to take that one to heart because that's one of the things I'm guilty of. But what I try to do is I only do it like once every week and a half. So, you know, and I don't hit every campaign. I'll do like 3 and then I'll do 3 more the next week or whatever, depending how I'm feeling. Yeah. So yeah, so maybe okay. All right. That's a good piece of advice. Don't spam your people.
And don't spam your backers.
Don't spam your backers, no.
Because you'll end up in the spam box quicker than
exactly. This is true. So also one of the things I see you've gotten big into is cross promotion.
Oh yeah.
Right. So, you know, I know you've done, like, talk to me. Who these people you're doing cross? I mean, I know one personally, but you know, we want to share the others.
Yeah. So I've done cross promotions in the past, like, you know, the regular backer swaps, right? For updates and stuff. I still do those. That still works. But I think you know, taking it to another level, doing the, like, where you're like, hey, if you back mine and you back there, you get this special little exclusive thing that you will only get, you know. I think that, you know, it's more enticing. 2, if you have a gorgeous piece that, you know, you could exclusively get, that, you know, that, I think that's something that helps. Plus you're sharing, it's more meaningful because it actually shows you kind of have a partnership with this other person, and it's not just one update and off you go. You know, like, so especially in Daphne, your you know, your wife and I, like,
my better half.
Your better half is we've done one last year, and it was, I thought it came out gorgeously, and I was a fan of it. You know, I was a fan of her art. You know, she asked me to read Ego Raven #1 before she even launched, and I loved it. So I of course, like, had to have, you know, cross promotion with her, like, is, you know, one, it's the drawing of the people and the animals, if you will, and I think she, you know, has a very good handle on both. And, you know, so we did that dog and pony show. It was Snowpaw and Ego Raven, and of course I wanted to do it again, but this time I was like, no, I want Nightwolf and I want Loki fighting, you know. And so she loved the idea. And we ran with that again, and doing the cross promotion, since we both were running around the same time. I mean, it was like a no risk. When I saw her dates, I was like, yes. So yeah, so that's one thing, is that, you know, her and I have that Ego Raven and Nightwolf print for anybody who backs my campaign and her campaign. So you will get, so the physical backers will get the 5x7 print, and the digital backers will get a like a digital wallpaper version that they could put on their phone or put on their computer screen. So this one's wide angle. So if you can have the first one, which is more vertical, you can have that on your phone, and then this one you can have on your computer or your laptop. So then I have other cross promotions. So I'm also
that print is epic.
It is. It really is. So, and then I have 2 other cross promotions this campaign. One with another project that I actually involved with Travis Gibb. His Cthulhu Invades Wonderland. I have a short story in there. Actually, the entire Nightwolf team. We did so. My Nightwolf artist and I put a short story in the Travis's anthology, and so since we were launching the same time or roughly the same time, I was like, hey Travis, I'm in your book. We're launching around the same time. Would you be interested in a cross promotion? He was like, yes. I was like, all right, cool. I'll get Carlos involved on this. And he's like, how about we do, Nightwolf riding the Bandersnatch, which is the Bandersnatch was my story from the Invasion anthology. So I was, and he's like He-Man style. I'm like, yes. So so I told Carlos, I'm like, listen, I'm like, think old school He-Man action figure backs or books that come with the characters, right? And just do it up, He-Man riding Battle Cat. So that's kind of like how that one came. So then same thing. Backers who back physical will get the print physically, and people who are doing digital will get the wallpaper. Travis and I are actually talking about putting them on shirts because we both we would both wear the crap out of that.
Right.
And then the third one for this campaign is with Charlie Stickney and White Ash. And White Ash is one of my favorite indie comics out right now. And I was super stoked that Charlie agreed to do it with me. And so again, I was like, Carlos, I was like, you have to do your best work on this, like, and it was because Lillian is like one of my favorite characters in his series. And I thought that some kind of a battle scene, showing the two working together, but like with Carlos, he's a very talented like fantasy artist too. So I was like, dude, werewolf and elf fighting monsters.
Right. You don't even have to push it any further than that.
Yeah, exactly. And it came out like he drew me a sketch of it like that like not even an hour later, and like I sent it to Charlie, and he's like, that's gorgeous as it is. I was like, he approves. And Carlos was like, all right, I'm just gonna leave this here. And I was like, no.
It's like, finish it.
Yeah, he was messing with me, but so but yeah, no, that's again, you back Charlie's campaign, you back my campaign, you get the physical, you get the print, if you do digital, you get the wallpaper.
All right, cool, very nice. I'm gonna pull up the campaign real quick so we can show it off.
Sounds good.
Okay, there we go.
Oh, it's the last time I looked at it.
Look, it just went up again.
Yay!
Nice. Yes. So that's always a good thing.
I know, right? Yeah.
319 backers, $11,000. Awesome. That's now, is this your regular cover artist? This illustration here?
That's Carlos Herrera. He usually in the book, sequentials, he does just the illustration, but for the covers, he does everything. He colors, he illustrates, he does all of it.
Nice. Cool. Now, who's the artist? Oh, you.
Yeah, so these are all of Carlos's covers. It's like from 1 through 6. These are all his covers.
Yeah. Nice. We're gonna preview. And these are his interiors?
Some of them are. Again, so these are like the previews of 1 through 6. There's 3 pages each, and then I have like a brief synopsis. So those 3 that you saw there, that was all Carlos. These are Oscar Chococota Ele and Bakuman Studio, who took over for Carlos when he got picked up by one of those like mythology card game things, and then like I said, he came back in issue 4. So this is also Oscar's team, and my colorist Gat Melvin for issue 3.
Nice.
And then this is Carlos's triumphant return and Gat's colors.
Awesome. Yeah, man, it looks incredible. trying to get to the. Yeah, these are really cool, man. All right, cool. So it's so you got your milestone awards. So talk to me about this. What are you doing here?
So I like to, the way I do like milestones and stretch goals are a little bit different than others. So milestones are always freebies. So everybody who backs will get these milestones as they unlock. So that way I like to keep things a little separate as far as like the stretch goals, because so the milestones, everybody gets the freebies. The stretch goals are usually like book enhancements, like the UV coating or like extra pages or something like that, or to kind of like give sneak peeks of something. I'll also give some freebies away there too. But like, it's also, like I said, it's kind of a mixed bag of things for the stretch goals, because it's stuff that I can afford to do more as the stretch goals happen. For example, like my Snowpaw campaign, I did like metal covers as one of the stretch covers or stretch goals, because I was able to afford that at that point. You know what I mean? So stuff like that, the stretch goals are usually what that comes into. And so for this, because the full moon is the night before Easter, I was like, why not do a full moon / Easter gift? And I thought the most colorful Eastery looking cover that I hadn't used as a print was this one by Chris Williams and Jake Eisenberg and Gwen Gadult. So they, I thought this was a very great cover for this freebie. So anybody who backs by the end of Easter Sunday will get this print as well. So I like to give out the freebies.
Okay, cool.
And then here's the stretch called thresholds. So once those unlock, then I will reveal what they are.
Cool, nice. Well, you're real close to the first one, so
the first getting, it's like right there.
So it's coming, everybody. It's coming. Right now, these are pull quotes, which is mad cool.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, and then got the wolf pack.
Nice. All right, some nice write-ups. Okay. Very cool. And then the rewards. Awesome. Cool. Okay. All right, nice. Oh, so you got t-shirts and hoodies.
Yeah, we got swag.
Nice. That's awesome. I love this. The face mask.
The mask, yeah. Those were fun to make. That was originally came from his Carlos's original character design, but I had to have him remaster it, if you will, because like at that size it started pixelating. So I'm like, hey, I need you to kind of redo it at this scale.
No, that's cool. Do you wear that when you go out?
when I have to. When you have to,
right?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
You also make great Halloween masks when you're out with the kids.
No, that's fantastic, man. I love this. Wow, that is awesome. These are really cool. I like these. You're so I mean, how like why the custom mini thing? I mean, obviously they're mad cool, so there's no real reason to have that.
Well, you know what? So the first one I got, the werewolf nightwolf, that one was originally, so I'm a part of Tyler James's mastermind, and for a Christmas present, he gave us, basically he paid for the prototype to be made by Saber Scorpion of our characters.
Nice.
And ever since then, I've been paying Saber Scorpion some serious dough to get these characters custom made.
Nice. I think Tyler owes you some money. Yeah. He got you hooked, you know? He's like, oh, I'm hooked. Oh, okay, you're selling off original artwork. That's cool.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Nice. These are gorgeous.
Yeah, so those 2 pages there, the one that sold, so those are one, or each of those, there was 3 from issue 4 that were very textile. That the only pages that Carlos ever hand drew. Everything else is done digitally. He did it this way because that part of the story I wanted to feel like ancient text, like so that's he actually took parchment paper and he drew on those, and he sent them to me, and I was amazed. I was like, holy crap. I was like, thanks, man, I appreciate it. But, you know, because they're the only 3, so 2 of them have sold already, and then this one is that page 9 is the last one that's still available.
Gotcha. Very nice.
And then we have some logs.
Nice. Yeah, these are gorgeous.
Oh yeah, her attention to detail is ridiculous. It's so good.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah, so that's actually one of the first crossovers that I did was with the Wailing Blade during my Tyler for Comics Tribe was doing his collection, the trade paperback for Wailing Blade, and I was doing the trade paperback for Nightwolf, and I was like, you know, Wailing Blade is another one of my favorite indies comics by Joel Movie and Richard Dueck, and I was like, yeah, for me this is more like fan art, you know, at that point. Right. Joe Movie decided to, you know, I asked him, I said, like, hey, would you mind doing this? And he agreed, and I was like, all right.
Nice. Cool.
Yeah, see, these are some add-ons that I had left over from the Snowpaw campaign that Mog had done, and basically she still has them because she did them basically pro bono, that she would own if they sold, she would get paid. So I'm like, I want them up there. It's like if somebody buys them, that I can get her paid for doing these gorgeous pieces.
No, they're beautiful. Nice. And these are watercolors?
Yeah, paint. Yeah, some kind of paint. I'm not sure. I think they're watercolor. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. The creators missed. There's you. Right. Here's you got Carlos Herrera. Nice. Is that Cat or Gat?
Gat.
Gat.
Yeah, his real name's Gareth. Gat is his pen name.
Gotcha.
Or artist name, I guess.
CB Zane. Nice. Chris Enoch. Chris Williams. William Russell. Lena, is that Day?
Lena Day or Die. I'm not really sure exactly, to be quite honest.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's her artist name too, because she has a full name that she doesn't use often.
Okay, cool. And you have all your other artists. Nice. Oh, there's the print.
Yeah, that's the He-Man homage that Travis and I are offering for back in both campaigns for Cthulhu Invades Wonderland and Nightwolf. Nice.
That looks incredible.
And then that's the gorgeous one done by Daphne. Where we have Nightwolf and Loki having a little spat. And I have to say that daily sketch that she did, kind of like the preamble to this, I thought hilarious. I loved it.
Yeah. No, she always does. Those are fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, here's your White Ash.
And that's the White Ash one with Nightwolf and Lillian. Charlie Stigney and I are offering.
Very nice. Okay, your explanation, your pie chart. I always like pie chart things. Not Gemini Mail. No, Gemini Mail was great. Right, cool. All right, risks and challenges. All right, nice. There's no risks and challenges. You're gonna fulfill. There's no risks and challenges. All right, cool. Nice. All right, cool. All right. Well, we've been at this for a little bit. It's just like before. We've been at this for a little bit, but I still got some goofy questions for you before we wrap it up. So before we wrap it up, please, Rob, let everybody know where they can find you and your work, sir.
You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and now on TikTok at Lone Wolf Comics. TikTok still needs a little work, but hey, if you want to follow me, go ahead. But I'm very active on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Personally, you can find me at Rob Multari. If you want to chat or whatever. I mean, you can chat either way. It doesn't matter. I'm the one running both of them.
Nice. Okay.
And I also have a website, lonewolfcomics.com. If you want to get to the Kickstarter with a quick, easy link, it's lonewolfcomics.com/nightwolf. And it'll redirect you to that very long Kickstarter link.
Nice. All right, cool. So let's get down to it. Down to the goofy questions. All right. So on the first, I'm pretty sure on the first one, I asked you, who would you want to get if you could pick any artist from any time period or whatever to do a cover for you, right? Who's your number one pick? I don't want to know your number one pick. Who's your number 3 pick?
Number 3 pick. Yeah, because I can tell you the first 2 off the top of my head.
Right.
Mark Silvestri.
Nice. Okay.
I think he could pull it off. Because I think he with his darkness style, I think he could bring some Nightwolf in there.
All right, here we go. Well, hold on. Let me Jimmy put that up for you. That's for the wolf pack. It's Jay with the hard questions. Oh yeah, there it is. This is now that's evil. There you go. I don't want to know number 1. Tell me who's number 3. At least I didn't ask you who's 18, right?
I mean, yeah, I'd have to be like literally make a list.
All right. So I know the prior one, I probably asked you, what book would you want to write in the big companies or whatever? So let's forget that. If you had the choice of picking a team, like you're writing, you're the head of the team, who would you get to do your interior works at one of the big companies, or even your own book? Who would you want to get? Like, let's pretend you're a fantastic artist that you got now. You'd always want to work with him, but let's say he had to go off and do some other super important project. He just his life's work for a few months. And you got to fill in. Who would you want to pick? Anybody?
Are we talking about current or any time?
Anytime, any place.
So I would have to say Joe Mad.
Okay.
Because one, I know Joe Madureira, he can do werewolves.
Yes.
And I fell in love with it. Like when I first saw him on the Uncanny X-Men, when like his stint there, like I loved his style. And then when Battle Chasers came out, I was hooked. And then when he stopped, I was pissed. So the caveat there is he has to finish and follow through. He cannot stop.
Gotcha. But wasn't he supposed to be finishing with another? Wasn't somebody else supposed to be finishing the series for him? Like,
I mean, I heard rumors. I haven't seen anything. I mean, he was doing that video game instead. Like many years later, like I'm pretty sure, like I was a teenager when he dropped Battle Chasers the comic, and then like I was an adult. As a matter of fact, I was working on my first Kickstarter when he launched that Kickstarter, and I'm like, finish the comic before you go into video games.
Right. Like, why?
Like, nobody's gonna know what this is. You didn't even finish the story.
Exactly. All right, cool. All right, now let's get into some of my favorites, the comparatives. See, I would say I would softball you, but I know I've already asked you the softball questions, right? In the prior one.
We're playing hardball now.
Exactly. We're just gonna go right into it. All right, we'll start with this. The Rock or Stone Cold?
The Rock.
Okay.
I don't know what for. You just that was so vague.
Bone or Cerebus?
Cerebus.
Okay. And like I said, some of these will come with Y. So
okay.
Some of them will come with Y. Vampirella or Red Sonja?
Vampirella.
Okay. Why?
But again, depending on the main question, but I like Vampirella more than Red Sonja. Dark haired girls do it more for me.
Gotcha. All right, fair enough.
Not that I don't like the redheads. Don't get me wrong. I love the redheads too, but you know.
No, I got you. See, when I ask these questions, it's always however you formulate it in your head, right? So it's funny because I'll ask people like, the one I always ask everybody starting out usually Batman versus Captain America, right? So people always think it's a fight, right?
Yeah, or something.
Yeah, it's always, is it a fight? That's usually what it's about. But it's
this is more like those Mad Libs where you're filling in the blanks.
Exactly. It doesn't necessarily have to be a fight. It's like who's the better leader, right? Who's it could be anything. Who has a better costume? I don't know. It could be anything. The Fifth Element or Stargate?
Oh, love the Fifth Element. Definitely Fifth Element.
All right.
Hopefully it's not one of those if this exists or that doesn't exist kind of question.
No. Pinhead or Freddy Krueger?
Freddy.
Why?
Matter of fact, Freddy's one of like my favorite all-time horror series. Nightmare on Elm Street. I had the box set where like you can see like you can see him from behind and you can see the claw like the DVDs build that. I love that, and I remember in college watching them religiously while I was like up late working on my art for like class. And it even inspired a nightmare themed, like I had a 2D printing press class. It legit like had to actually like carve like stuff to like the art and then put it on a printing press and like use the ink and press it over. So I made a series of like 2D prints for different horror nightmare themes. So I have like a really like I think close relationship with that because of like that time period of like just listening and watching. I wasn't even like watching half the time. I'm at my art desk and like up on my TV, like I had this like really small like back in the day a little tube TV with my DVD player, and I just in the background it was like 3:00 in the morning. My roommate is in another room, sleeping, and I got this horror movie playing in the background while I'm carving these horror prints.
Right. So Mike J says Stargate, total nostalgia kick, and he says Lino. So I love that stuff. Bram Stoker or Mary Shelley?
Ooh, because I like them both for their own reasons. I mean, I got to go with Mary Shelley.
Okay. Any reason why?
She was a trailblazer, being a woman back in that time period, coming up with something like that, like legitimately probably one of the first horror-esque novels. I mean, come on, that's you got to give props to her for that.
Oh, most certainly. Secret Wars or Crisis on Infinite Earth?
Secret Wars.
Why?
Well, I'm definitely more of a Marvel fan. So I have actually read that.
Gotcha. All right, fair enough. All right. Buffy or Supernatural?
Oh. You know what? I think I watched Supernatural more recently. And like Dean and Sam, they crack me up, so I got to go with them. Plus, I love that car. Their dad's car.
Yeah, the car is awesome. Yes.
And every time they get in and Carry On My Wayward Son comes on, I get all like, yeah.
All right. Hellboy or Spawn?
Spawn.
Okay.
Yeah, going back to the action figures, first time I ever even heard of Spawn was when Todd McFarlane released that original action figure that he then re-released like 2 years ago when he did that big
right.
And then like that's when because I had known about like Wildcats prior to that. Like, I was more like Marvel and X-Men focused, Spider-Man. That was my main like blinders, right? But I did know of Wildcats. But then like when I saw that action figure, that opened me up to a broader, like, oh, what's this? And then I found out about Spawn, and then I'm like, oh, what's this? And then there's the Darkness and the Witchblade, and this, and I went down that rabbit hole.
Nice. All right, let's see. Printed or digital?
Printed.
Okay. Old school?
Yeah, I can't. I'll read digital, but there's nothing like having. I mean, I got stacks, of like, still sitting here, like, just right next to. Like, I have stacks of the even, that I'm trying to catch up on, right next to me.
Gotcha. Let's see. Ooh, Doctor Strange or John Constantine?
I gotta go. It depends. Well, I enjoyed that Constantine TV series. But that's and then the movie with Keanu Reeves. That's really the only like what I know about Constantine.
Right.
Whereas like Marvel, I actually I've read some of the books. I have some of the books, and so I gotta go with Strange. As much as I loved like the character, like because Keanu played a different Constantine than like the actor in the TV series, but my wife and I cracked up every time we saw one of those episodes. But I got to go with Strange.
Okay, cool. American Werewolf in London or Curse of the Werewolf?
American Werewolf in London.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I figured I had to throw in one of those. Yeah, this. Okay, cool. All right, I'll ask you a couple more of these. We can wrap it up. I think I've tortured you enough. Walking Dead or Dawn of the Dead?
Well, I personally, actually, I didn't really care for zombies to begin with, but when my wife actually introduced me to The Walking Dead, I got invested. And for me, like, I thought that zombies were always like, kind of like, it's just a reanimated corpse or whatever. There's nothing all that much interesting. I've watched, but there were a couple, like 28 Days Later, they made it more interesting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. I think the whole shuffling and being slow kind of, thing. Like I was like, okay, come on, get to the point here. We know they're coming after them.
Right.
I think it just is like for me, like a boredom thing, just for the slow paceness. But I give credit to them for being, like the movies and the directors and the camera shots and all that for the time periods. But I think like what really got me invested in zombies again was with Walking Dead, because it was more of a kind of like it was longer than just with the movie. They're like, oh, we figured out what was wrong and we're done, right? Whereas like The Walking Dead, they still to this day, haven't figured out what the deal is, and it's not even about the zombies anymore. It's about like the people and the stories that I think Kirkman did an amazing job, and then AMC did a great job with the adaptation.
Okay, fair enough. Dave Stevens or Adam Hughes?
Adam Hughes.
Okay, fair enough. We'll wrap it up on this one. Frank Miller or Alan Moore?
Frank Miller.
Okay, why?
I am a big fan of Wolverine, as we may have talked about. So that mini series, his first mini series before his long running series, I have those, and Frank Miller signed those bad boys for me, and Chris Claremont signed them. So for me, it's, again.
Okay, fair enough. All right, nice. All right, we made it to the end, Rob. One more time. We did it. All right, so please, one more time, let everybody know where they can find you and your work, sir.
You can find me again at Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and TikTok, because I'm not used to saying that yet. It's still weird. At Lone Wolf Comics, and at Rob Multari, lonewolfcomics.com, and quick link to the campaign, Lone Wolf Comics /night, or lonewolfcomics.com/nightwolf.
Right, and that's in the show notes. So you can just go down to the show notes, click the link, and you'll be there, or just cut and paste it, however you want to work it. Right?
What are you waiting for? Join the Wolf Pack.
There you go. Exactly. Join the Wolf Pack. He's real close. real close to that stretch goal. He's gonna make it. Hopefully tonight.
We're close to another milestone too, so that's another freebie.
There you go. All right. Thank you. So thank you everybody for being here. Please hit like, hit subscribe, share out the video. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, DeviantArt, all under JD Calderon. You can find me on the OswaldChronicles.com, TallTalesOnline.com, and go check out the Oswald Chronicles on Kickstarter. All right. So, all right. Thank you, Rob. Do it now. Do it. All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Rob. I'll talk to you all soon. Take care.